All right, there's a debrief on the meeting that happened on February 14th, 2022. And apparently, during my term, we're never going to fall into just having mundane meetings. Something's always going to be weird because that's been the pattern for a ways over a year now. So apparently that's going to continue. So we'll just settle into that for a good 4-year term here. We had some things were changed. The invocation that I'd added seemed to go well, and people seemed to like mine. I didn't get any complaints, at least. I think the board, though, is going to want to have the ability, at least, to cycle through the board for people to give invocations who wants to. So we'll probably do that way. Lori was out. She wasn't feeling great. And so, but we had Kim, who it's her last week, and so she was there from the clerk's office, and she was able to take minutes and do a few things that we needed with the clerk's office throughout the meeting. We also had Lexi, who she's training this week in at the meeting, and Andrea, the other administrative assistant, was there, and I know she's been meaning to make it to a meeting, has had some other scheduling stuff come up and things like that, and was able to make it to this one. So we had a pretty full house as far as the staff of the office actually goes. We corrected a little bit in the minutes. I had a correction on the diversion council. Last month when we had voted in January, I had voted no because I wanted us just to make a decision on the diversion council, which is kind of funny considering what happened in this meeting. But I didn't like the idea of postponing it at that time. Later in this meeting, we ended up tabling it. But so I made that correction in those previous minutes and a little bit of my statement there. There were a few questions on paying bills, a couple of small things. $20 of training I did for the board of review was classified under the treasurer accidentally instead of the supervisor, so that has to be corrected. Alan was on a fire call when the meeting first started, so I just read off the fire report that he had put down. Our first public comment section was a little odd. In that Andrea had some various questions that it probably would make the most sense to bring those to me when we're working together during normal office time. So a little odd there, which we've had a lot of odd public comments since I've been in office. So it's kind of a continuation of the same thing, but it was definitely weird. And when we got into the resolutions, the beginning were all these salary resolutions. So there was a salary for the supervisor, the clerk, the treasurer, and the trustees. And so those are 4 separate resolutions. We ended up keeping the numbers the same as this past year, and all of those passed. We also passed the assessment number 2 for Michelinda Road for the paving project, and that was signed and filed with the clerk's office and reported to the board. And then we moved on to number 3, and that also went through. The expenditure policy, there was more talk about that at that time and in the first public comment section about how that was going to go. It did end up getting approved, and so, which is interesting because really the township shouldn't have been operating like it had one, which I think other municipalities do as well. I think that's probably something that you would find is commonly missed, that this is supposed to be in place to smooth out the process so you're not paying bills late and things like those, so people just do this without actually having this in place. And so I think it's probably an easy thing to miss, and that's why we're putting it in place. The enforcement process went through, and just some adjustments there, like I talked about before when I did the briefing video and everything, on not having automatic administrative appeals. The diversion council, there's just a decent amount of uncertainty about it, and I talked about in the meeting how we're not deciding if the diversion council is going to exist or any of these types of things. Those are county decisions, so county commissioners make those types of votes. We're just deciding if we're going to sign a memorandum of understanding with them, but there's some uncertainty on even what that means. It's a bit vague, and so with that being there, we decided to table it, and I think that's reasonable instead of just postponing it month to month to month. If it becomes important and if seems like something that should occur, this way I can pull it up when necessary, and if not. I don't think it would be a major problem either way, and I'm not sure if it's very active or very much is happening with it in general. It seems to be kind of one of those things that it sounds good to do, and so commissions create boards, create committees, create councils, and it kind of goes around and around. We had one land bid opening for 2.9 acres south of Goose Egg Lake that no one had bid on. We had another one for 0.63 acres on White Lake Drive, and that one was sold. We had a single bid on that. Then we had two land sale requests, 5.6 acres on Russell Road and 28.97 acres on Russell Road, and both those passed going up for bidding. So we'll be opening those bids next month. In our budget discussions, we discussed ARPA and which direction people would like to go on some of those funds. We'll do more because we scheduled a work session, which I'll put the notice up for fairly soon, but it's going to be on March 7th at 6 p.m. And I explained the PFAS situation along M120 and those types of things, and basically I was just giving information on that. We discussed the major things in 2023, the Master Plan Michigan Adventure Sewer negotiation, and those much smaller, but the fire millage is kind of a big one. There were some questions and comments about that, and we're going to move forward with the plan of doing the renewal and increase on the 2023 election, and then if people don't want the increase, then we can fall back onto just a renewal in 2024. And then the administrative assistant change, just addressed that Kim is leaving. We appreciate her staying for training and all the work she's done before, and her help with some of the legal stuff and the land sales and everything has been very helpful. So I expected it to go a lot smoother than it went, and it's so hard to predict boards and meetings and public comment and how things are going to go. So I think it was about an hour and 45 minutes, and I thought, at most this thing will probably be an hour, and then it just gets bogged down with various things. So it's kind of interesting and entertaining in some ways, that's for sure. So that's a simple little debrief. I don't know if I should get more extensive on these debrief meetings, but I covered more of what I thought about the various things in the briefing video. So, and if things are a big issue, I could make separate videos about them as well. And so if you have a particular opinion on that, feel free to let me know. Otherwise, that is the debrief for this meeting.